Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are here today to talk a little bit about the influence of Wall Street, the stock exchange. Because there needs to be some form of regulation or something done. Because Wall Street, stock market, whatever you want to say, is a little too uncontrolled. So, yeah. Now, let's go ahead and look at some of the interesting points here. We all had the stock market crash, the downturn, the Great Recession, whatever you want to call it, 2008. I remember living through it. Private equity firms are buying up asbestos liability claims, and asbestos victims will pay the price. Wall Street is investing in your asbestos poisoning. Private equity firms are buying up a literal toxic asset, companies' liabilities for decades of asbestos poisoning. Some Wall Street firms are scoring huge payouts to take on the hassle and financial risks of people getting sick and dying from asbestos exposure, and they can use threadbare oversight and cutthroat legal maneuvers to delay and deny those victims' claims. While assuming asbestos liabilities might seem to be a losing proposition, lawsuits from people with asbestos-related diseases have cost companies billions. Private equity firms can demand huge payments for the service and are not required to abide by traditional insurance regulations regarding how they manage to and invest this cash. I don't think there's any oversight to this, says Michael Shepard, a Boston-based attorney who represents victims seeking damages for asbestos exposure. Investors have hit on this ability to have access to a deep well of cash and handle it the way they want to handle it without any oversight whatsoever. To get rid of their asbestos liabilities, industrial manufacturers create a subsidiary company onto which they offload their asbestos-related assets. The manufacturer will also add a large pool of cash to their subsidiary, ranging from hundreds of millions to even billions of dollars. A private equity company will then acquire the subsidiary company and its asbestos liabilities, making them responsible for any asbestos claims. And so it allows the owning company to say, it isn't our responsibility. It allows them to shift focus and thus not have to pay for what they have done. This is just some proof of how the stock market has allowed the rich and powerful to skirt power. Any consequences, they completely just nope, nope. It is not us. It is this little group here. Yes, we own them, but it's their fault. No, you own them. It is your fucking fault. But apparently, yeah, under current stock market non-regulated bullshit, that's what we have. Such bullshit. And yet people like want to treat it like, hey, this is the best thing for America. Free market capitalism, baby. Fuck you. Fuck you. A F to the U to the C to the K. You, motherfucker. Anyway. After taking over a manufacturer's asbestos liability, private equity investors aim to gradually resolve each claim through litigation, settlement, or by successfully resisting it. According to the law firms Skadden, Arps, Slate, Meager, and Flom LLP and affiliates, which specializes in company mergers and takeovers, all the while working to spend less than the pool of money received from the manufacturer. That and high investment returns now allow private equity firms to turn a hefty profit. The longer companies can hold on to the cash, the more interest it can accumulate in the market. And this all begins through buying it off of companies on the stock market, other places. And so they invest in this toxic asset and thus can make more money. Investors view these transactions as financial instruments as they may provide a stable cash flow and reliable yield with potentially less market risk than equities or real estate, according to a February report by the Seattle-based consulting firm Milliman that analyzes these types of acquisitions. According to the report, researchers have noticed an uptick in these types of deals in recent years. I definitely see it as a worrisome trend, said Shepard, the Boston-based attorney. Now, there is more, but I'm not going to go further into it because it does take a while to get through. But I just wanted to point out, it's just one way. The stock market, Wall Street, is screwing over America. Now, let's go back a couple of years. From CNET, Robinhood Backlash, what you should know about the GameStop stock controversy. Lawmakers, regulators, and Reddit aren't happy with the popular investing app. There ends up, yeah, just this year they think they've settled everything and paid it off. But still, because they were, there was a lawsuit brought against them for their behavior. But remember, popular investing app Robinhood became the focus of the controversy after it decided to freeze trades for GameStop on January 28th. Shares of the video game retailer spiked after traders on Reddit began frantically buying the company's stock. GameStop shares have since came crashing down only to shoot up once again. So yeah, there were groups that were on Wall Street betting on the death of GameStop. Not betting on GameStop itself, betting on its death. They wanted to see it die so they could make more money. People on Reddit started buying it, and the value of the stock went woof. All of a sudden, these people betting on its death were losing money. What did Robinhood do? Because that's where most of the stocks were being purchased out of. Froze the trade because the average American got involved. Yeah. Robinhood played a critical role when a group of Reddit posters saw an opportunity to make money while also giving a jab to Wall Street and hedge funds. However, Robinhood made the surprising move to restrict buying GameStop, citing issues with volatile stock and regulatory requirements. Due to its part in the trading frenzy, Robinhood has been scrutinized by its users, regulators, and lawmakers. We have some answers for the big questions about Robinhood, the actions it took, and what might happen next. I'm not going to read the rest, but yeah, I just wanted to show this. This was just a few years ago. Average Americans pushed back, and Wall Street got all pissy and whiny. They're like, you can't do that! Motherfucker, they did what you have always been doing. They invested. You were investing in its death. They said, how about we invest in the company? But yeah. If you don't remember, all these investing groups were whining and crying, saying, oh, these loose cannon Redditors that are buying the stock are hurting these poor these great investing firms and investors. Fuck you, motherfucker. They played your game and beat you at it. And you couldn't hack it. So you had to have people step in for you. But yeah, here's a little further information on the GameStop short squeeze. In January 2021, a short squeeze of the stock of the American video game retailer GameStop and other securities took place, causing major financial consequences for certain hedge funds and large losses for short sellers. Approximately 140% of GameStop's public float had been sold short, and The rush to buy shares to cover those positions as the price rose caused it to rise even further. The short squeeze was initially and primarily triggered by users of the subreddit Wall Street Bets, an internet forum on the social news website Reddit, although a number of hedge funds also participated. At its height, on January 28, the short squeeze caused the retailer's stock price to reach a pre-market value of over $500 per share. $125 split adjusted, nearly 30 times the original $17.25 valuation at the beginning of the month. The price of many other heavily shorted securities and cryptocurrencies it also increased. But yeah, on January the 28th, some brokerages, particularly app-based brokerage services such as Robinhood, halted the buying of GameStop and other securities, citing the next day their inability to post sufficient collateral at clearinghouses to execute their clients' orders. Motherfucker, if they can't afford it, they should get the fuck out. This decision attracted criticism and accusations of market manipulation from prominent politicians and business people from across the political spectrum. Dozens of class action lawsuits have been filed against Robinhood in the U.S. courts, and the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services held a congressional hearing on the incident. The unusually high price and volatility continued after the peak in late January, and on February the 24th, the GameStop stock price doubled within a 90-minute period and then averaged in the neighborhood of $200 per share for another month. On March the 24th, the GameStop stock price fell 34% to $120.34 per share after earnings were released and the company announced plans for issuing a new secondary stock offering. On March the 25th, the stock recovered dramatically, rising by 53%. So yeah, these fuckers who were betting on it failing, they got outsmarted and outplayed by average people. And they were like, we can afford this! And basically pressured Robinhood to freeze any purchases of GameStop. So yeah, again, more proof that it is a playground of the rich and powerful and is set to be used against the average American. Average American gets a foothold in there and they whine and bitch and cry like the little pussies they are and basically shut down any attempt of the average American to fight back. But anyway, now, let's watch this by Robert Reich. How Wall Street priced you out of a home. And this was a video back in May.
Rent is skyrocketing, and home buying is out of reach for millions. One big reason why? Wall Street. Hedge funds and private equity firms have been buying up.
So yeah, again, Wall Street, hedge funds, private equity firms, they're again fucking over the average American.
Hundreds of thousands of homes that would otherwise be purchased by people. Wall Street's appetite for housing ramped up after the 2008 financial crisis. As you'll recall, the street's excessive greed created a housing bubble that burst. Millions of people lost their homes to foreclosure. Did the street learn a lesson? Of course not. It got bailed out. Then it began picking...
Yep, 2008. The great... Oh, the Great Recession. It isn't our fault, even though most of it was. But, please bail us out because we're too important.
Off the scraps of the housing market it had just destroyed, gobbling up foreclosed homes at fire sale prices, which it then sold or rented for big profits. Investor purchases hit their peak in 2022, accounting for around 28% of all home sales in America. Home buyers frequently reported
22%, over a fifth, closing in on a fourth of all home sales. That means they were buying the fuck out of homes that could have went to average Americans. But instead, they're there to do what? Fuck over average Americans. To make money. Fuck Wall Street. Fuck the stock market.
Being outbid by cash offers made by investors. So-called iBuyers used algorithms to instantly buy homes before offers could even be made by actual human beings. If the present trend continues, by 2030, Wall Street investors may control 40% of U.S. single-family rental homes. Partly as a result, home ownership, a cornerstone of generational wealth and a big part of the American dream, is increasingly out of reach for a large number of Americans, especially young people. Now, Wall Street's feasting has slowed recently due to rising home prices, but that hasn't stopped them from specifically targeting more modestly priced homes, buying up a record share of the country's most affordable homes at the end of 2023. They've also been most active.
So yeah, the most affordable homes. So basically, poor Americans are getting fucked over because these assholes want more money. More money. Fuck you, motherfuckers. This is why we need, without a doubt, more severe restrictions, regulations, and laws governing the way the stock market works. 'Cause free market goddamn capitalism is fucking everybody else in the ass!
In bigger cities, particularly in the Sun Belt, which has become an increasingly expensive place to live. And they're pointedly going after neighborhoods that are home to communities of color. For example, in one diverse neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina, Wall Street-backed investors bought half of the homes that sold in 2021 and 2022. On a single block, investors bought every house but one and turned them into rentals. Folks, it's a vicious cycle. First, you're outbid by investors. Then you may be stuck renting from them at excessive prices that leave you with even less money to put up for a new home. Rinse, repeat. Now, I want to be clear. This is just one part of the problem with housing in America. The lack of supply is considered the biggest reason why home prices and rents have soared and are outpacing recent wage gains. But Wall Street sinking its teeth into whatever is left on the market is making the supply problem even worse. So what can we do about this? Start by getting Wall Street out of our homes. Democrats have introduced a bill in both houses of Congress to ban hedge funds and private equity firms from buying or owning single-family homes. If signed into law, this could increase the supply of homes available to individual buyers, thereby making housing more affordable. President Biden has also made it a priority to tackle the housing crisis, proposing billions in funding to increase the supply of homes and tax credits to help actual people buy them. Now, I have no delusions that any of this will be easy to get done, but these plans provide a roadmap of where the country could head under the right leadership. So many Americans I meet these days are cynical about the country. I understand their cynicism. But cynicism can be a self-fulfilling prophecy if it means giving up the fight. The captains of American industry and Wall Street would like nothing better than for the rest of us to give up that fight so they can take it all. I say we keep fighting.
So yeah. Now, while there have been suggestions and plans introduced to try to help, I have no faith that any of it will get done. As I've said before, most Democrats, they spout this good stuff and all this, but they're usually so useless, powerless, and feckless, or want to act like they're powerless, while Republicans don't care. They would help Wall Street buy up more. So honestly, whether Trump or Biden, it will never get fucking done. Anyway, yeah. There needs to be something done. So yeah. Asbestos? No. You get the fuck out. Go back to I like this stock, or I feel I need to sell this. That is all you goddamn need to do. Period. Same here. All you needed to do was buy or sell. It shouldn't have been, let's short squeeze it to make more money. How about I beat your ass because you're a greedy dumb fucker? And then homes need to be built and kept off the stock market. They should not be available for purchase by equity firms like that. No, fuck those fuckers. Fuck those fuckers. You know, honestly, I feel that homeownership should be an American right. So did FDR. I agree with him. Americans have the right to own their own home. But fuckers called Wall Street, called the stock market, these private equity fucks, no, they're like, no, I should make more money. More. And then, to show how it impacts our own government. Yeah, AOC files articles of impeachment against Supreme Court Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. This comes at a time when the conservative justices are under scrutiny for gifts they've received from wealthy political donors and the refusal to recuse themselves from certain Supreme Court cases. It goes without saying, many of the people involved in the stock market and these private equity firms, they're these kind of people. So yeah. Democratic Congresswoman AOC announced Wednesday she has introduced articles of impeachment against Supreme Court Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. The unchecked corruption crisis on the Supreme Court has now spiraled into a constitutional crisis, threatening American democracy writ large. Representative AOC said in a statement, Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito's pattern of refusal to recuse from consequential matters before the court, in which they hold widely documented financial and personal entanglements, constitutes a grave threat to American rule of law, the integrity of our democracy, and one of the clearest cases for which the tool of impeachment was designed. So yeah. Where was it? I know they filed like so many counts of not filing the gifts they received. And then there was a couple of counts of something else. But yeah, Justice Thomas and Alito's repeated failure over decades to disclose that they received millions of dollars in gifts from individuals with business before the court is explicitly against the law, Ocasio-Cortez said, and their refusal to recuse themselves from the specific matters and cases before the court in which their benefactors and spouses are implicated represents nothing less than a constitutional crisis. These failures alone would amount to a deep transgression worthy of standard removal in any lower court. So yes, absolutely. This is without a doubt impeachable offenses. There is no doubt, unless you're so fucking brainwashed, you're like, no, they're doing their best by fucking over Americans. Let me continue to tickle your balls, Mr. God Sir Trump. That's basically who would say that kind of shit. But yeah. But it's not only affecting the court, it very easily can do the same with Congress. We know for a fact people follow Paul Pelosi's stock trades because they know his always, for some reasons, are big winners. And there's a whole Reddit on what he buys and sells on the stock market so people can go, oh, we know what we had to do next. He always wins pretty good. It isn't because he knows the stocks. It's because he has access to information that is in the halls of government. So yeah. But my other point in all this, the richest 10% of Americans own the great fucking majority of the stock market. Over 90%. I think it's 93%, something like that. It varies a little bit from there, but yeah. When I was looking it up, it was like 90, 93, 91, stuff like that. So it shows how fucking corrupt it is and how much more corrupt it can be. There needs to be regulations and ways to implement tax law upon stock value gained. Not just stocks bought or sold, but stock value gained, especially when you own so many stocks. And the stock you buy. So if it's a high value stock and you buy multitudes of that stock, if you already have a ton of stock already, you're going to have to pay a good chunk of tax on that, sir, by liquidating some stock you have. And I've had friends tell me, oh, there'll be a run on the stock market. From what I see, most of it is owned by the rich. 90-some%. Yes, there are some retirement plans and stuff in there, and a just government would protect those people. Unfortunately, we're in the second Gilded Age, baby, where the rich get richer, the poor get fucked in the ass, but America's rich than ever before. It don't goddamn matter if it's just a handful of fucking people. America's not any better off, goddammit. But yeah. I just wanted to bring this information to you all. Yeah. The video is already late, I know. I don't care. I don't give a fuck right now. Anyway, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources for these in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.